25 years after the Good Friday Peace Accord, a 5-kilometre wall still divides West Belfast, where the conflict once erupted. 3,500 people died in 3 decades. Catholics on one side, in favour of a united Ireland, Protestants on the other, loyal to the British Crown.
We're on the loyalist side of the wall now. My kind of political home and cultural home is on the other side of the wall.
Conor Maskey works for a network bringing together people from opposite sides, but he comes from a militant Republican family.
25 years ago, I wouldn't have even dreamt of driving here. But now, and as you'll see as we come up, now it's a tourist attraction, which, funnily enough, involves also ex-prisoners from both the Loyalist and Republican side, taking people on tours of this wall to show them it.
On Good Friday last week, residents from both sides of the divide stood at the gates separating their areas to celebrate the agreement, bringing an end to violence. One of the organisers was an ex-IRA prisoner.
I spent 12 years in jail for being a member of the IRA. Today, I do tours, walking tours. We take steps forward and we take steps back. But if you look at the society from 25 years ago until now, we are in a far better place.
This is the only park in Europe with a wall running through it. During the conflict, this area was known as the killing fields. Political violence is now at an all-time low. As a city councillor, Conor Maskey now helps residents from across the barrier, like this one, hoping that these walls can come down one day.
I would love to say tomorrow, but it takes a dismantling of fear in people's minds for that to happen. This is more a psychological thing and an emotional thing than it is physical.
Fiercely loyal to the British Crown, the Newtownards Road was never somewhere Catholics felt at ease. Loyalist paramilitary groups marked their territory. But their guns are now silent, and here too, progress is visible. This craft brewery hosts an informal meeting for Irish language students, among them this Protestant couple.
I started learning Irish because it was something I felt I had missed out on growing up. Coming from a unionist background, we don't get the opportunity in our schooling system to learn Irish.
The language school, TURAS, is booming with 500 students. Before the agreement, it was unthinkable in this area. When Linda Irvine started it 10 years ago, she had death threats.
Because I'm from this community and, you know, I suppose in some ways I've stepped out of line and people don't like that. And, you know, the majority of people are fine, the majority of people are rational and reasonable, but there are people who feel very threatened by what I do.
Irish language homework at the Maskey's family home.
Corcra, meaning?
Purple.
Purple.
On that side of the divide, learning Gaelic is the norm. At the heart of the peace agreement is an equal respect for the two main cultural traditions. Decades ago, some of Conor's male relatives joined the IRA. He was 20 at the time of the peace agreement and says it changed his life.
There's no doubt that a choice would have had to be made one way or the other, if conflict was still going on, whether I got involved in armed conflict. It's not natural to me, but I would have had to face that choice. To this day, I'm very, very thankful that that choice was removed.
This is your granda and this is your papa, and they were in the police, weren't they?
Natalie and Andrew were 10 when the peace accord was signed. Both of their parents were police officers, potential targets for the IRA until the clandestine group renounced violence and disarmed.
I was very nervous about talking about what my dad did, and always just sort of said, he's a civil servant.
I always remember is that we couldn't get straight into the car. You had to wait until Mummy or Daddy had checked the car. I suppose with my daddy being in the RUC, that meant there was a risk on his life.
The Royal Ulster Constabulary was 93% Protestant. Police reform was also a key feature of the agreement. The new police service now has the support of the vast majority of people here.
The Good Friday Agreement really did change the entire character of the country, and so a new police force was really needed for essentially what was a new country.
They were an actor in the conflict, and now they're a publicly transparent service.
This anniversary comes at a time of political impasse. At Belfast City Hall, political parties share power. But for a year, the largest unionist party has refused to go back into regional government in a row over Brexit arrangements, which create a trade border between Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
That Irish sea border is putting a line down the middle of our country. That's the way we see it. No other country would accept that.
Recent surveys indicate that the vast majority of people in Northern Ireland want a return of the power-sharing government set up under the Good Friday Agreement.